The scam that tricked millions of athletes. Listen, if you was in school and you seen anybody with them wrist shits on, that shit right there that Kobe got on, talking about, oh, I can balance proper. You was lying. This shit didn't work. But I already know. So I'm glad somebody did a vid that's exposing these motherfuckers. So let's go.
In the late 2000s, two companies took over the world of sports, only to get sued, having to repay customers millions of dollars for allegedly selling a product that did nothing. Yet thousands of athletes not only used them, they loved them and swore by them. Alex Rodriguez, David Beckham, Ronaldo, Bryce Harper, Robert De Niro, Lindsay Lohan, and even Bill Clinton all wore these. A woman from Canada, not even knowing what it was, had her chronic pain from 2 wrist surgeries completely disappear after putting one of these on. It healed with hurdle pain, and after battling neck pain 4 years, Curt Schilling said he put one of these on and hadn't felt a stiff neck since. And all the people I just mentioned didn't get paid to wear or say any of those things. Millions of people wore necklaces and bracelets said to be fueled by a nanotechnology operating at a subatomic level in the quantum field, using a hologram that is so complex it has infinite depth. When in contact with your body, it uses your bioelectrical energy.
What the fuck do y'all think this is? Vibranium? Nigga, that's aluminum foil wrapped in condom wrappers. And bro, let me...
to increase your physiological powers. These claims come from several different explanations of power balance, found on archived versions of their website spanning from 2007 to 2009. When these claims were made, nobody had ever even heard of them. A few years later, pretty much every single athlete in the world would be wearing their product, but at the time, a completely different company was dominating the space. Phyton necklaces were a phenomenon, originally created in the 80s by a Japanese chiropractor slash holistic medicine practitioner. They transformed from a line of magnetic tape, clothing, and even shampoo into a necklace. According to Phyton, the secret ingredient was aqua titanium. According to archived versions of their website, they discovered a groundbreaking technology that for the first time ever could make the metal titanium dissolvable into water. They called it aqua titanium and claimed when worn on the body could penetrate a person's muscles and increase their health levels. From a scientific perspective, this was controversial, but after years, Phyton finally found their target market. Baseball was perfect for a product like Phyton, a sport that is obsessed with superstitions that make absolutely no sense. Turk Wendell would brush his teeth in between innings every single inning because he thought it made him better at baseball. The Yankees in 2009 were convinced a golden thong had powers, so when a player got into a slump, they would wear a golden thong that the entire team shared. And even though Mark McGwire went from this size in high school,
what the f? I knew y'all was some extra freaky ass you sports players, y'all freaky as hell. It's getting exposed. Y'all freaky as hell, boy.
To being 6'5", 245 pounds, he wore the exact same cup he had in high school his entire major league career. He thought that helped him hit home runs. So the idea that a necklace filled with liquid metal could somehow help on the field performance wasn't even really that crazy. The notion that they would create a multi-million-dollar industry was crazy. The Phyton necklace first gained traction in professional baseball in Japan. The story goes that Randy Johnson is the origin of Phyton coming to America. He discovered them while playing in an MLB vs. MPB exhibition in Japan in 2000, then brought them to MLB, where they slowly spread until the 2004 Red Sox. Curt Schilling was supposed to be out for the playoffs with an ankle injury, then got an experimental ankle surgery invented by a Red Sox trainer. He became the first person ever to receive this surgery and didn't do it in a hospital. He got this experimental surgery inside the Red Sox training room the day before he had to pitch in the ALCS, leaving his ankle looking like this. This became the biggest story in sports as millions of people watched Schilling shut down the Yankees as the cameras obsessed over his bloody sock, zooming in and showing it any chance they got throughout the entire game. and all these cameras fixated on Schilling also picked up his brand new Fightin' necklace, exposing this new product to millions. In fact, multiple Red Sox in 2004 wore Fightin' as they went on one of the most infamous runs in baseball history to break the curse of the Bambino. This was the beginning of a marketing breakthrough for Fightin'. In 2005, usage in MLB exploded. Over 200 MLB players were wearing Fightin', and Fightin' wasn't even paying them. Players genuinely liked them. Jose Lopez said he felt happier when wearing it. Andy Chavez said he thought he had more energy when he was wearing it. And Mariners outfielder Chris Snelling, who was battling wrist pain, said he would wear these at night and wake up with no wrist pain whatsoever. All of a sudden, Fightin' was getting tens of millions of dollars worth of free exposure from major leaguers who loved wearing them and genuinely believed in them. The first month of the season in 2005, Fightin' sold 3,500 necklaces in America. By August, their sales were 7 times higher. Fightin's were sold in every sporting goods store, at every elementary school recess, and every single baseball field in America, from Little League to the major leagues. They started selling tape and patches to help specific areas of discomfort. They created the Tornado, combining 2 Fightin's into one, becoming a signature look everywhere. For a little extra money, you could get the X30, which according to Fightin had a concentration of aqua titanium 30 times higher than the standard aqua titanium for even more effectiveness. Fightin were selling necklaces that were as much as $168 on their website, and they were flying off the shelf. Yet, there doesn't seem to be a single medical professional not affiliated with the company that thought these things did anything. During their rise in popularity, article after article questioned Fightin, pointed out they had essentially no research backing them up, and referenced doctors who dismissed the products completely. Yet in many of these same articles were random people not being paid by Fightin swearing it improved their lives, saying it made them better at surfing, kids saying they didn't get tired after sports practice anymore, and people in their 60s saying it helped with carpal tunnel and allowed them to work out 5 times a week. In the past, Fightin's website claimed they prevented injury, eliminated pain, called aqua titanium effective against tendonitis, headaches, certain type of arthritis, and even premenstrual syndrome. But once they became popular in America, they backed off these claims. Perhaps worried about potential lawsuits, a Fightin representative now said that they, quote, made no medical claims, saying it's just a cool sports product. They stopped promising crazy health benefits, people everywhere were calling them a scam, and they just became even more popular, selling over $200 million worth of products in 2009, while in Japan, an estimated 1 in 10 people wore a Fightin. People wanted them. If they didn't work, they usually didn't care because they just thought they looked cool. Others did believe in them and genuinely got results. From a business perspective, Fightin had an amazing model. However, in America, they were mostly limited to the baseball community. So a company called...
If they look cool, that's one thing. But don't sit here and try to tell me, nigga, you can jump higher because you got a fucking Fightin chain on or the shit on your wrist. Nigga, you're lying. Just yesterday, your ass couldn't do a layup to save your life. Now today, you told me that you know you can do a motherfucking behind the back dunk. Bitch, do you think I'm slow?
Power Balance saw an opportunity. Morphing into a bracelet in 2008, the product saw absolutely no success until then, but their co-founder worked at the famous Elite 11 quarterback camp. There, he started pitching some of the best quarterbacks in the country. In 2007, they only sold $8,000 worth of product. Nobody knew what Power Balance was. But in 2008, Matt Stafford, Mark Sanchez, and Colt McCoy all wore Power Balance bracelets the entire year, 2 of which were featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated wearing Power Balance. Just like Fightin, they were getting millions of dollars in free promotion and making extremely strong claims, except these claims were much crazier. According to archived versions of their site from 2007 to 2009, Power Balance says they could use vibrations to stimulate red blood cells and improve the communication between your cells. your bioelectrical energy powers would work with the Power Balance hologram to strengthen life-enhancing information. The hologram, they say,
Nigga,
was
I
made
hope
by
I'm
a
fucking
proprietary
bankrupt right
sonic
now.
formula
This is some
only
bullshit.
known to them, which required photonic engineering that converted sonic waves into light, and people wearing them often felt better balance, strength, flexibility, and range of motion. It's safe to say most scientists probably wouldn't agree with that. But these claims were made at the infancy of the company. By the time people actually started buying them, they were no longer on the website. They didn't make sense, but they didn't trick anyone because nobody read it. The thing that did convince people to buy Power Balance was this. The Power Balance test put people through a series of balance tests, then immediately redid the same test with the Power Balance bracelet on, and almost without fail, the person would perform significantly better with the Power Balance on. It could be done anywhere, so anytime someone wearing a Power Balance receives skepticism for wearing it, they could just immediately put the doubter through the test, who almost always had better results with the Power Balance on. This became one of the most effective marketing tools imaginable. All of a sudden, in bars, in schools, and parties across the country, this fun party trick was converting countless numbers of people into believers in Power Balance. The test is almost certainly a psychological trick that doesn't hold up when the subject is blinded and doesn't know if they have the Power Balance on or not. But when the subject knows they are wearing the Power Balance, immediately after not wearing it, it works extremely well. All of a sudden, random people not being paid by Power Balance swore by it. A restaurant owner told the OC Register that he began wearing the Power Balance and started having energy levels he never had in his life. A woman in her 60s found her wrist pain went away in 45 minutes after putting one on, and every time she took it off, the wrist pain would immediately come back. And a man in California put on the Power Balance after going through chemo and found it immediately cured him from throwing up. Scientifically, the bracelet itself likely did nothing. But people believing that it did legitimately cured their health problems. Power Balance claiming their product worked was triggering a placebo effect over a sample of millions of people and seriously improving many of their lives. However, the ethics around this are somewhat gray. As Power Balance gained popularity, the negative reaction from the scientific community was immediate and much more harsh than it was for fighting. Article after article and study after study debunked the test and labeled them as pseudoscience or a straight-up scam. This type of backlash would soon cause the entire industry to collapse. But in the meantime, it made no difference because every athlete in pretty much every sport was wearing one. Ronaldo, David Beckham, Drew Brees, Kobe, Kevin Durant, Yasiel Puig, Matt Kemp, the guy who won the World Series of Poker did it while wearing a Power Balance. Bill Clinton wore one. Even the British royal family was wearing Power Balance, and most of them did it for free. The bracelet became a trendy look. Many didn't even care if there was no science behind them, they just thought they looked cool. In 2010, they sold $35 million worth of product, 200 times more than they had just 2 years ago. They bought the rights to rename the Sacramento Kings Arena into the Power Balance Pavilion. They were bigger than ever and named CNBC's Sports Product of the Year. That same year, they also won a Shonky Award, an award that goes to the biggest ripoff/scam of the year. On their website around this time, the insane claims that they had made years earlier were replaced with vague statements about how the company believed in, quote, various holistic practices and Eastern philosophies, without any specific medical claims the bracelet was supposed to help with. The reason for this, in part, was likely Power Balance being concerned about lawsuits, which were starting to come. In Spain that year, the Department of Health fined the company 15,000 euros. In Italy, they were fined 300,000 euros for deceptive advertising. And in Australia, they were being investigated by the government, who claimed Power Balance breached the company's trade laws with deceptive advertising. In response, Power Balance was forced to state, quote, "We admit that there is no credible scientific evidence that supports our claims." They offered refunds to all their Australian customers, and according to them, the Australian government even threatened athletes who advertised the product. A few months later, they went bankrupt in Australia. In America, the business was still thriving, but having to admit the claims they made were not backed by science made them vulnerable. And within a year, Power Balance had as many as 18 separate cases pending in federal court at once. Even stars who endorsed the product, like Shaq and Lamar Odom, were being sued over the company's claims. Power Balance was screwed. They eventually settled and paid out $57 million, forced to offer their customers refunds, and with $10 to $50 million in debt, the company filed for bankruptcy. Their deal with the Kings fell through, and the Power Balance Pavilion was renamed. Soon after, Power Balance sold for $8 million to a Chinese company who bought it in part with money Power Balance already owed them. And that year, Fightin was also hit with a lawsuit, settling for $3.2 million, offering customers refunds for false advertising. The settlement was a fraction of the size of Power Balance, but for both, this marked the beginning of the end. Both had to admit to deceptive marketing. The products slowly faded away. Famous athletes stopped wearing them. Many of the people who saw massive health benefits, now knowing there was no science behind it, likely lost any benefit that came with the placebo. And despite both Power Balance and Fightin being sold today, the industry of cool sports bracelets and necklaces that improve athletic performance has faded away.
But that goes to show, like, it's like on the Space Jam movie with the magic sauce or whatever, bro. So all you gotta do, I guess, is believe. Apparently, is just fucking believe, and your arthritis will go away, and you fucking be cured from chemo, I guess, by just believing in a power band watch or wrist thing, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But it's a couple of you niggas. It's a couple of y'all I remember growing up with, right? I used to wear that bitch. Swear to God, y'all was nice. Bitch. And it's good that you believed you were good because you're supposed to believe in yourself, but you ain't need no wristband. But you was like, bruh, I swear to God, the wristband changed me. Yeah, you swear to God, all right? Bitch, you going to hell now because they just exposed you, dumbass. So I hope it was worth it, pussy. Sorry. Hey, I'm gone. Appreciate it.